Now, our next presenter is somebody I know personally for many years. Her name is Sandra. Sandra has 13 months ago started investing for a fund called Baltic Sandbox Ventures. They're focused on two things, deep tech and defense, key things we need right now. They have both an accelerator and the fund itself. So very similar names, but remember, Baltic Sandbox Ventures, Sandra. Now, what's very unique about her is that she trained over 230 different angels across 4 years how to invest into startups, and including deep tech companies. And 160 of them, which I found remarkable, are female angels. And let me tell you, that's a hard ratio to reach. So, and finally, she gave me once a personal tour around Vilnius, which I really, really value. Please, a warm hand of applause and a welcome to Sandra, Baltic Sandbox Ventures. Please. Let's do it. Here's your clicker, if you want to use it. Let's do it. You can sit down, stand up, it's up to you.
Not that I really care. You wanted me to show some numbers, so I'll show some numbers.
Gotta have some numbers. Let's do it.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Sandra. I'm the general partner at Baltic Sandbox Ventures. As Gleb already said, we invest in deep tech and life sciences. So what is this deep tech and life sciences, essentially? We are talking about startups or even scientific teams, I would put it like this, who are leveraging a certain scientific discovery, a certain proprietary technology, who are leveraging the intellectual property to create something that is going to change the world and make it a better place. And all investors are saying this, like, yeah, changing the world, making it a better place, and so on. The thing is, we invest in founders early. We are very early stage, meaning that when we are looking at our type of founders, we actually don't give a fuck about your MRR. We don't really care about your financial projections because our founders, they don't even know what is MRR in most of the cases. If you are the type of founder who is building, great B2B SaaS solution with some AI component, probably some chatbots and everything, we would appreciate it, but it's not where we invest. So you're not our target, we will recommend you to someone else. If you are a person who is sitting in the lab and doing some stuff connected with laser technology or photonics to use it in defense or life sciences or somewhere else, we will come to your lab, we will find you, and we'll talk to you, because this is exactly where we invest. So why do we do this? All this, deep tech and life sciences stuff. As you mentioned, defense. So defense, deep tech is leveraging defense. Deep tech is leveraging economy. And deep tech is leveraging the society in general. Because if you're talking about the life sciences, we're talking about health. We're talking about health in the long period, generations, the whole healthcare system, and so on. If we're talking about deep tech, we are talking about defense, of course, because we have a war at our borders, let's face it. And also, if we are talking about the technologies and patents belonging to our region, we are talking about money. We are talking about economics growth and economics quality. I guess that's pretty much it.
It's a pretty short 2-minute pitch, ladies and gentlemen. Hand of applause, please. Now, I gently remind everybody the type forms are open, all right? I'm already seeing that at least roughly 60 of you have accessed this. Very good, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have a conversation now. Yurio, what are your thoughts?
Oh, well, you had me at we don't give a fuck. It's very, very rare to have any investor ever say they don't care about MRR. So that's brave. Awesome.
Not at our stage. It's not that we don't care, but we invest very early stage pre-seed.
Exactly, and that's where I'm getting at. You invest what, 25K? How much do you invest?
From 25 to $500,000. But our average size of the deal, yes. But our average size of the deal with other co-investors is around 700. So we have deals in our portfolio. Yeah, there are a lot of co-investors who are doing
700,000?
Yes.
Okay. I've looked at deep tech deals. For 700,000, you can get a really nice microscope. Does 700 do anything in deep tech investments? Is that enough money?
Two things. First of all, the fact that deep tech startups really need a lot of money is very much overrated for the investors who are not from the industry. And secondly, if it's an R&D heavy startup, if we're talking about a lot of money, it shouldn't be venture money alone. It's leveraged by the grants. And this is how it should be in the region, because it's not that you're giving the grants to B2B SaaS startups. You're giving the grants to to those who are going to develop functional genomics and essentially the personal health care for every person in the region. So normally it's a combination of venture financing and grants at the early stage.
I'm going to kick this off. So we had the chat. So we had a chat with every of the funds, and so I know that you have an accelerator tied to the fund itself. And so one of the things we discussed is the viability and usefulness of the time allocated to accelerators. Because you work with some really raw early team scientists. What's your take on the acceleration model? Is it a huge time sink?
Well, I mean, we've been a generalist accelerator for quite some time, and then we were moving into this deep tech story. When we say accelerator, we mean more like a business education for the scientific founders. So you have to understand, our founders are the people who are literally sitting in their labs, and they figure out, oh, we should commercialize this idea. They don't even know the names, then think, what is startup, like, how do you do this, and so on. So what we do, we give them this business education, and we don't want to turn scientists into businessmen. It doesn't make sense. We want to give them the knowledge and the tools so they could hire business people, so they could find the business co-founders and understand how it works at the end of the day. That's it.
So if I got this right, you help them make better decisions about hiring, who to partner up with?
About how their scientific discovery turns into the business.
There's an expression, learning on somebody else's dime. Are they learning on your dime?
Sort of. I mean, we are their investor, you know.
Some investors will go, I don't want to pay for their education. I want to be investing into a second-time founder, third-time, all that.
And I also heard some investors who would like to invest in some sort of pedigree founders. We don't give a fuck. As I said before.
Guys, I love the honesty so far. You're probably going to get some authenticity points, man. You like what you're hearing? What's up?
What's your split between the deep tech and defense tech?
There is no such thing as defense tech. There is, there is, but basically we call it dual use. And I would say that 60% of our portfolio is dual use now, and they're all deep tech.
We're getting some questions from the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, you're very active. You're really getting quite a bit of data.
Let me follow up on that.
Let's do that.
Defense tech, we've got Diana now, right? Estonia announced their defense tech.
50 million fund, NATO Innovation Fund of 1 billion.
1 billion. What? I mean, I know the floodgates are open and people are coming with dump trucks of money from EU now, all into defense. How do you compete amongst each other? Why would they choose you versus Diana?
We don't. We are early stage. When it comes to Diana is a deep tech defense accelerator. When it comes to us, we are a deep tech investor. We are very, very early stage. So those defense companies, dual use companies, who are building this deep tech and technology and everything, they think about us as an investor who can help them to go to market. And by the way, with Diana, we don't compete. We try to co-invest in everything. NATO Innovation Fund is much later. They're coming at the next stage, and they're our friends. They're coming to see our portfolios. Smart Cap haven't launched yet. And the more money we have in defense in this region, the better. We should have had this money like 5 years ago. But we have them now. So let's try to build the whole ecosystem from scratch in 2 years.
All right. You want to kick off?
You got...
All right, so just to give you a preview of the scoring, so you're indeed getting very high scores in authenticity. All the F-bombs are paying off, so I'm loving this.
They always do.
Professionalism suffering just a little bit. It's not bad. It's reasonable, all right? Likelihood of recommending, though, is it's all right. It's 6.5. Just giving you real time. This is maybe roughly 15, 20 votes so far. Just giving you a bit of feedback. But we have some questions coming in. So timeline-wise, so when do you expect your investments to start to exit? And are your LPs comfortable with that time frame? I know you have a big government anchor LP, I think 9 million or something.
Yeah, we have a governmental anchor LP, and also we have private LPs. So we technically have 2 funds in one, pre-seed and seed. Pre-seed fund, it's mostly governmental anchor and us as GPs. Seed, it's roughly 30% of the governmental anchor and private LPs and us. Regarding the timeline, we are pretty standard 10 plus 1 plus 1. We have this rule when we invest, which is 3 years time to market. Exits in deep tech work a little bit differently than traditional exits, and there could be early exits as well. Like, very simple example, I mean, you invested in Marketplace, right? And they're like a 20, 25 mil valuation. And you can't sell this company because they don't have enough market share, they don't have enough traction. But if you are looking at the same like 20, 25 valuation deep tech company that is leveraging, that is on the market already, but at the same time they have certain patents, they are leveraging certain intellectual property. Like if you look at our region, think Nokia, for example, which is big at patents. So you can sell this and do the early exits. But generally, yes, 10 years is a pretty good horizon for the exits.
Listen, let's keep the questions going. I have one from the audience again. Do the companies have to be based in the Baltics region? Do you do follow-on investments, and what ticket size? So let's split this in two. Baltics region, yes, no, and do you do follow-ons, and then what's the ticket size? Let's do it.
Baltics region, no, not really. We have a mandate to invest in the whole Europe. We invest in Baltics just because we love this region, we live in this region, and we want to make it better. Follow-ons, yes, we do up to 300, 400 per company.
All right, so I heard some word on the street is that you actually, from other investors, is that those tickets that you actually allocate, maybe it's outdated data. I know you mentioned the 700K, but for some reason I heard 25K, and that puzzled the hell out of me.
No, we start with this ticket. Again, we have two funds, pre-seed and seed. So at the pre-seed fund, we can start as early as 25K in the team that doesn't even have the company yet. You know, they just registered the company.
Scientists.
And then and then we put this first tickets. Sometimes this 25K ticket with other co-investors turns into like 400K ticket.
And how much runway is that at all? I mean, it's just like money to gamble?
It's a very interesting question because a lot of actually deep tech founders, they don't need a lot of money because they have the lab. They have some connection to the university. They are already developing. They even might have some salaries in the university. And they said, like, yeah, we need this like small ticket to hire one more scientist, for example. And then you make the agreements with the university on the IP transfer to the team and so on and so forth. It's a lot of work, but...
Okay, last one going because we're a little over time, 30 seconds or so. We do have a bit of a buffer because of a last-minute cancellation. I asked this from all the deep tech founders and deep tech investors, ladies and gentlemen.
And both,
okay. What the heck is deep tech? What the heck is it?
So what the heck is deep tech? So
your definition.
The tech that is leveraging science or technology to do something cheaper, faster, better.
So we're not completely sold, but let's see what the audience thinks so far. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do a quick one. Our next speaker is getting ready. You're getting some high scores. Obviously, I'm seeing some fellow team members in the audience, so let's at least 3. Hopefully, they're not going to stack the deck. Ladies and gentlemen, you're the hardest group. I heard from some investors that they are more afraid to present in front of their team members than they actually presenting outside. I heard this from one of the funds that is going to be presenting too. Let's do it. So, Sandra, final tally, ladies and gentlemen. Final tally. We have roughly 30 votes or so. So we got 7 on professionalism, 8 on authenticity. All right. So let's say, all right, track records, 7-ish. Aligning with the vision, given that you have a very specialized thing, it's a 4, so it's a very low score. And then we have a 6.7 in terms of likelihood of recommending you. So you have the strongest points if you're coming across as you're keeping it real. The rest is kind of average so far. So I think you're going to be probably middle somewhere. Ladies and gentlemen,
last year it would have been about middle-ish.
Right? Middle-ish, ladies and gentlemen. We have all the stats for the next presenters. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm hand of applause for being a good sport to Sandra. Let's do it. I appreciate it. Sandra, thank you very much. You've been totally awesome. Yeah. Thank you very much. Please. Sorry.